Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome to Ambassador Digital Magazine Live. And I'm Musa Jackson, I'm your host. And this is gonna be a fun, uplifting, amazing show for you. I have one of the most important people in my life. She's fantastic. So I can't wait to bring her on, Angelique Miles. She'll be on a little bit later, but we're gonna talk a little bit about what's happening in the news. So I also want to say it's at 7 o'clock we always give thanks to our essential healthcare workers. We are still in the midst of a pandemic, and they are still doing the good fight out there. So let's applaud them. Thank you for being on the front lines and just looking after us. Okay, we see you and we appreciate you. Okay, so. And I also want to say a happy birthday to my father. My father's birthday was yesterday. He's been gone for many years, but he's in my heart. And it would have been his 99th birthday. Yeah, my father would have been 99. So, Dad, thank you for everything, okay? And next up, we want to talk about what's happening. Hey, Tony, what's happening in the world still? The COVID cases around the nation are on the rise, okay? So we have to remember that we have to social distance and we have to wear our mask and we just have to be smart about it, okay? And really, do our part. I know we're doing it here in New York, but across the country, it's spiking in other states. So I just wanted to say we're going to do our part, and we're going to be a part of a collective whole because we're all in this together. Also, I wanted to talk about a gentleman who went to Trump rally, which was Herman Cain. And after the Trump rally, he came down with COVID. I'm not saying he got it at the Trump rally, but after the Trump rally, he came down with COVID and actually passed away. He wasn't wearing a mask, and it's unfortunate that some of our leaders, are not taking it as seriously as they should, and so. Regardless of whatever you felt about the man, and I'm gonna take the high road. I send my condolences to his family. And once again, everybody, just like I said, let's wear those masks, let's social distance, and this is real. This is this can kill you if you don't. All right. And I want to talk about. Always going to talk about her until we fought to her killers are brought to justice, and that's Breonna Taylor. So, we can't talk enough about that because, what happened to her and what's happening around the country and what's happening to our lives, Black lives, is just, we've got to continue to fight. And one of the interesting things that happened was that during this time, Oprah Winfrey, her magazine, O Magazine, which is normally she's on every single cover, she dedicated the September issue cover to Breonna Taylor. And I think we have that cover. Yeah. And I think that was an incredible gesture on Oprah's part, just to kind of, she said something in an interview about she wanted to honor this young woman's life. And it's unfortunate that she had to lose her life to be on a cover. We'd rather have her here with us than even on the magazine cover. So, but this is a beautiful cover and a beautiful tribute. Oprah, you did it's a wonderful job, and I'm glad that I see it. We're going to talk about social media and how social media is just taking things and sharing it. So I've been seeing this shared. It's gone virtual as it should, and we're going to keep your name. Her life mattered. and we're going to keep your name alive in our hearts until we get it, even after. But we're going to bring those killers. I'm not even going to call them officers or SWAT team or whatever. They're killers to me. Until we get them and we bring them to justice. Okay. So, but a beautiful cover, and you know, and once again my prayers to her family. So, and also today was a special day in our nation. A hero of mine and most Americans, John Lewis, as we know, passed away a week ago, and they laid his body to rest today. They had an amazing send-off for a king. It was fit for a king, as it should be. One of the great, what did Obama say? Founding fathers of a new America. How about that? A man who risked his life over and over again for our freedom, for our right to vote. Started when he was a young man, when he met Dr. King and Rosa Parks, and was called to service, and he really embodied a life of purpose. And that purpose was for the betterment of his people and ultimately all of us. And there he is. He led the march, Selma across the bridge, Edmund Pettus Bridge, and he was almost killed on that bridge that day. And it didn't stop him. It didn't deter him. He kept fighting. There he is. Seeing gentlemen like him, knowing that gentlemen like him lived, makes me feel amazing. That we have to move forward with what he put forth, and continue the fight. But the funeral itself was beautiful. We had 3 living presidents, Bush, Clinton, and Obama. Obama mentioned that he was his hero, and he was part of the reason why he actually became president. He saw that this man laid the foundation for him. And Obama said that at the inauguration, here it is, he was the first one that he hugged. That's the kind of man. First off, these 2 gentlemen right here, I'm proud. I'm proud to be a Black man. I am. I'm proud of these 2 men. And you look at this beautiful photograph, which will live on forever. And Obama has just such class. So I want to say thank you, John Lewis. Thank you for all that you've done for us. And that your family, knows that the world is a better place and will be a better place because of you. Okay? So I want to move on. And we have here, one last photograph. We say, never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get into good trouble, necessary trouble. That's his thing. I love that, good trouble. He never be another one like you, John Lewis. So, but I hope the next generation picks up and continues his fight, and I think that's what's going to happen. It's interesting that's happening in the country right now, that their federal agents they were in Portland, as well as now they're in Detroit, in Chicago, and I heard they're here in New York, and they are taking peaceful protesters and throwing them into the back of unmarked vans, taking them to jail. And I heard that when they come out, they were released under one circumstance, and that is that they can't protest. Interesting. That, along with Knucklehead in the White House talking about he wants to delay the election because of, I think, potential voter fraud. So I guess if he doesn't win, it's voter fraud, which he ain't gonna win. But that will be his excuse friend of mine mentioned, she texted me, Elizabeth texted that to me, but I was thinking that, I was like, I concur with that. Something that he would do. So anyway, we will vote. John Lewis will want us to vote. And we're going to get the child, the monster, out of the White House. So with that said, come to the end. Oh, I have here a friend of mine. One thing I love to do on this program is I love to cross market. I love to promote people doing things. And I got a book from a friend of mine in California, D'Angelo Thompson, who was an amazing makeup artist, but he actually wrote a book. And the book is, I hope you can see it, 100 Days of Gratitude. And so pick up this book where you can find it. I think you can probably go online and you can pick up the book. And I'm going to start reading this because I believe in gratitude with everything I have, because, you know, gratitude opens up everything for you. And the next person, the person I want to bring on, I'm extraordinarily grateful for and have a tremendous gratitude towards this woman. She is, where do I start? First of all, she's a New Yorker, born in Queens, but, you know, Harlem, we claim her as one of our own, as one of our queens. She has, my God, her story is epic. She had, you know, in the music industry, she was one of the top music publishing executives in the industry. She helped sign some of the biggest acts, not just in hip hop, but to me in music. I just can say Missy Elliott. How about that? Okay, Timbaland, for example, and Busta Rhymes. But we're going to keep going. She, in this day and age where social media is pretty much all that we do. This is a social media platform. This is online. She was able, at over 50, first off, she looks 30, but over 50, to basically take a platform and transform it and become one of the leading social media influencers and brand ambassadors for Black women, I would say women, over 50. She's fierce. We're gonna talk about that skin, we're gonna talk about that hair, all of that. She's an entrepreneur. You can't go online without seeing this amazingly beautiful woman. She is beautiful inside and out. I want to bring on one of my dearest friends. Please welcome to the Ambassador Digital Live, Angelique Miles. Wow. Well, look at you. Look at you. How you doing?
I'm well. I feel like I'm having I'm in a Groundhog Day. It's the same, but I'm good.
A Groundhog Day? Because it's just like every day we're in our house and we're doing similar things. Is that what it is?
Yeah, everything is like just weekends don't matter. It's just the same.
Well, you look beautiful as always.
Thank you.
And you know, we're gonna get to the skin and the hair, girl, because if I you know, to not talk about that, I would get cursed out by every woman that I know. He said, you better ask that girl about her skin and what she does. So we're gonna get to that a little bit later, Angelique. But okay. So it's interesting. So you are a native New Yorker, as I said. I said New Yorker. I said like a New Yorker. From Queens.
That's right,
Laurelton, Queens. Let's talk a little bit about that. So you grew up in Laurelton, and what was that like for you? We're gonna take you back.
Well, we moved here. I told you earlier that it'll be exactly 50 years that my family has lived in this house next month. So,
now you're in the house. You're in the house.
Yeah, I moved into the house I grew up in.
Love it.
My parents moved to another state, so I live here now, and it's such a blessing.
Oh, look at Angelique.
4 years old. So I was 4 years old. My mother was pregnant with my younger brother. And, you know, I love this house. I liked growing up in Laurel. It was a nice neighborhood for upwardly mobile Black people, young
Mhm.
families, and I had a good childhood.
Mm. And so it was your parents and your brothers, and it was probably a whole lot of community, or I would say your neighborhood. So you guys all got together. There's your parents, your beautiful parents. That's their wedding. That's their wedding picture, right?
Yes,
Beautiful.
1966. They just celebrated the 54th.
I love it. I love it. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are.
they
They,
are.
well, my dad's 85
Mm-hmm.
month, and they're doing well.
Who do you take? Who do you? You know, let's just go in. Who do you take? Who do you think you take after more? Because this is Leo season, and she's a Leo.
Right.
She's a Leo.
My mother's a Virgo, as a Capricorn, and I mean, but the fact that I was raised by them, of course, I picked up on some of their traits. But most people probably say I'm like my mother, but I'm like my father in many ways. So,
Are you a daddy's girl?
of course, I'm the only girl.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I can see that. I can see that. Knowing you and you know how you always talk about dad. Oh, I love that picture of you with your mom, and you look like your mom in this photograph.
Right, we look alike. But you know,
Yeah.
she's not her favorite photo because I look like I'm pushing her. That's not her favorite photo. But my mother, I don't have pictures with my mother as a baby because she was always taking the pictures. I
Okay.
don't when I was a
She was
baby.
the one that she kind of kept it. You know, she was the one that kind of chronicled what was
Right.
going on. Okay. Okay. And so, growing up to here, oh, you got any more? Okay. Oh, look, I love that photograph.
That's
That's a
similar.
beautiful photograph. They are beautiful people, of course.
Yes.
Of course they would be. Oh, look who came on.
Hi, Luke. That's my dear friend Luther Campbell.
Hey, Luke. We love you too, bro. I love this photograph of your parents. Oh my God. I love, you know, Angelique, can we talk about this? Okay, first off, y'all, keep it at 100. Because that's and not all up in how Moose is and asking, oh God. But we talk like almost, me and Angelique talk literally almost every day or every other day.
Yes.
And one of the things we talk about is our parents, or in my case, my mom, and in her case, her mother and her father, and how they were such a big influence. My mother was a huge influence on my life. I would not be anywhere without my mom. I love you, mommy. Okay. And Angelique, I mean, what I love about Angelique is, I just got to say this, guys, even before we go on, I just got to say this because I can't hold it any longer, is Angelique is an amazing person. She's a great friend.
Oh, thank you, Lisa.
You are an amazing friend. You have been there. I know in my life, you have been there for me, you know, for, you know, sometimes, and we both know when my mother was in the hospital, you know, other things, you know, trying to figure things out, you know, in terms of career wise. And that's what I'm glad to talk to you today about, how we can go from one situation to another situation, have success in one situation and find success in another situation, and honey, and do it over 50. How about that?
Over 50, over 60?
Go ahead, girl. Okay.
Ever.
There's no age. So what you would say, Angelique, is that there's no age limit.
There's no age limit to chasing your dreams, to doing what you want to do in life, unless thinking. If you think you're limited, you will be.
So a lot of it's in our thought process.
That's
Is that what you say? Okay. But we talk about that. So I want to just give these, as we're talking, guys, you know, that's what she's here for. I feel like just her life is a testament to really taking something that you want to do and putting it out there in such a huge way and claiming it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's passionate about it. That's the one thing I love about Angelique. She's committed, she's passionate, and she's determined. Just like a Leo, I guess. My mother's a Leo, my father's a Leo, and my sister's a Leo. So I know a little bit about Leo.
In good company.
Huh?
You've been in great company. You grew up.
Thank you. Okay, so listen. So now grew up in Queens. What was? But you came of age in the 80s.
Yes.
What was like? I mean, we both know this. What was like New York like for you in the 80s?
Well, I say
Let's talk about some clubs.
That's the time.
Wait, what? It was what?
The best of times, and it was the worst.
And it was the worst of times. Okay. Why was it the worst of times?
Well, let's see. In January 1981 is when I got my star. Oh, no, not 81. No, was it 81 or 83? I forget.
Okay. Right.
It was either 81 or 83 star. So that was the beginning of the 80s for me. I started out the 80s scar on my face.
We're going to talk about that, but keep going.
I mean, it's a part of my life. High school, I went to all-girl Catholic school. I appreciate it now, but I didn't like it at the time. I went on to Hampton.
What, you want the boys around?
No boys. Zero boys.
Zero. Okay. You're like, Moose, that would have been you. Okay, keep going.
No. It was interesting because even though I grew up in this neighborhood, I really don't know a lot of people because I always went to Catholic school. And I think part of being a part of your community is attending school with people, and that's how you get to know your neighborhood. But I didn't go to school here in the neighborhood, so there were a lot of people I don't know. I had my core group of friends, or two friends, but I didn't know a lot of people in the neighborhood. But anyway, the 80s are when I guess I became an adult. I went away to school. I went to Hampton, and while I was at Hampton, started going to the clubs here in New York City.
What? Which club was that?
I tell people when I was 15,
girl.
the first club I went to was Justine's. You remember Justine's?
Yes.
And I got drunk off of slow gin fizz.
What'd you do?
I got drunk drinking.
You got drunk on slow gin fizz?
Remember, you could get in the clubs there. But anyway, like Justine's, Leviticus was another club.
Leviticus.
But I'm aging myself. But that wasn't. I didn't do that often. I was thinking clubs with an older friend. Then, of course, the Paradise Garage, Bentley.
The Garage, right?
Well, Paradise Garage is,
Yes.
There'll never, ever be another experience like it. But we did the Red Parrot.
Right.
But Paradise Garage is where I have my most fond memory.
Okay.
There are memories of that time in New York City when you could park in front of the club. It was just it was a freer place to live. Yeah,
agreed. It was a great place.
There was a lot of craziness. Let's not forget, the drug crack.
Right. You're right. It was a conflict. I mean, so much. There was AIDS, and there was crack, and there was all those things going on. But at the same time, like you said, we were hanging out. Friday night was this club. Thursday night was this one. Saturday night, we had something to do every night of the week.
Exactly.
In New York, right? And we always had the energy. Like, I don't have the energy now, but then, child, get home by the crack of dawn and go to work. I don't know how I did it, but we did. We all did it, right?
Especially from the garage. You go straight to work.
Especially from the garage. Noon.
Yeah.
1 o'clock in the morning. Noon.
Yeah.
And, right. So one thing that you mentioned, which I didn't get to go to, I went to Parsons School of Design, which was diverse, whatever. But you went to an HBCU. and Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
What, tell our viewers who didn't go to a Black college what that experience was like and how that shaped you maybe today.
I mean, anybody who went to HBCU will tell you there's no experience like it. It's a unique experience because you're around your own people from all walks of life. Like I've ever seen, in New York, I think you live in a bubble. Like, you associate with the people in your neighborhood unless you, maybe my friends who went to school in the city maybe hung out with other people, but everybody I knew was like the same. We all lived in Queens, so I knew people, my same probably socioeconomic level. But when you go to Black college, there's the affluent Black people, there's people from all walks of Black people, and that was the most significant memory I have of it. And of course, there's the music and the bands, and I met some amazing people who I'm friends with to this day. And coming from an all-girl predominant high school, it was a culture shock for me, actually. But no, it was a great experience. I recommend it to anyone, who has children that are college age to consider an HBCU.
Isn't this interesting that we're talking about that? And Patrick Riley, is that the wife of Jeff Bezos? I'm sorry, I'm a little the richest man.
Hampton $40.
How many million?
40 million.
She did. Well, actually, it's the ex-wife. So she got this in the divorce settlement, and she gave $30 million to Hampton.
40.
Oh, 40. Oh, excuse me. You're like, don't tip off that 10.
Hours she gave to Xavier. I think she gave.
Right. She split it up amongst a lot of HBCUs, which I think is good. She paid it forward. She, giving to Black lives. That's really a part of it too. Economically, that see the economics in us, because to me, supporting a Black college and Black minds is supporting the economy. Will be supporting the economy and supporting the future. So I love that. When I read that, I was just like, yes, girl.
That's excellent. I didn't read the article. I just heard. So, great.
Yeah. So, okay. So listen. So then you leave Hampton University, and to tell me what happens next. Did you? What was your first job out of?
When I came home, finance, so I thought I wanted to work on Wall Street. So I had a job in mutual fund sales for Sheets and Lehman Hutton, and I was at Two World Trade on the second floor, buildings that don't exist anymore, and I hated it. I was like, this can't be life. I have to be at work. I lived in Queens, and I have to be on by 8:30. Anybody who knows Southeast Queens, that's an hour and a half commute. And I was like, this can't be life. So I quit, and I started temping for an agency called CTI. I'll never forget that. And they sent me to Capitol Records A&R department. And
so they sent you. This is such a great story to me, because you were tempting, and then they sent you to Capitol Records, and then you got a full-time job, or you got a
temping.
What happened then?
I'm shortening the story, but yes, that's the gist. I temp for which we probably a gentleman by the name of Josh Deutsch. Did I freeze up? So anyway, I met Suzanne Baptiste while I was there. And I was like, jobs available here. I really like this, because I knew I wanted to be in the record business before they sent me, but I didn't know how to get in it. So she was like, well, Dwayne Alexander for an assistant, give me your resume, forward it to him. Anyway, make a long story short, as an A&R assistant with Wayne Alexander at EMI Records, who, rest in peace, he was he passed away. So, that was my first, and I suppose why I stayed in talent and A&R, because I think had I gotten a job in publicity, I might have been a publicist.
Right.
Because my first job was in A&R, the road I took.
Nice. And what year was that? Just kind of
90.
That was 90. Oh, that was 90?
That was 90.
Wow. Just when it was about to pop. So you get there, you're now in the industry.
I was an assistant.
And well, you're assistant, you're in it. Even as an assistant, you're a part of it. There's no small, right? And you're at the beginning of the golden era.
Mm-hmm.
The golden era of hip hop is what it's known now. And so tell us what was the next step? What happened from there?
I was an A&R assistant for about 3 years, but in between that time, I was at different companies. I was at EMI, and I think Dwayne got let go, because it was everybody got let go at some point. You know, new boss comes. Anyway, I was home for a minute. I my son and my girlfriend Kimberly Thornton hired me at Busted Records, Hammer's label. So I worked as an assistant at Hammer's label. I love Kimberly Thornton, and she's on. Then after I had my son, my dear friend Paris Davis, one of my best friends to this day.
Hey, Paris.
Not on social media, so.
Oh, okay.
I got a job at Epic, so he brought me on as assistant at Epic Records, where he signed there, and a group called Terry and Monica, which is Terry Robinson and Monica Payne. Anyway, I was an A&R assistant for maybe 3 years total, and how I became got my first executive gig was I was having issues with my father. So I was crying at my desk because I guess we had an argument about child support, money, and Vivian Scott Chu.
Love her.
Right, Vivian Scott Chu. I guess she saw me crying at my desk, and I told her what was wrong. That, you know what, you need to get your own job so you don't have to worry about him child support. As a matter of fact, Cooper's leaving Warner Chappell. Give me your resume, and I'll give it to Fields, who was the vice president of urban. I don't know if they called it at the time, but she was president at Warner Chappell. So I got the job.
That's amazing. And I love, what I love about that story, Angelique, is just how, and I love Vivian. I want to say something. If she's watching, we love you, Vivian Scott Chu, Rachel, we love you guys. I just love the fact that the way, what's really important, one of the key things is having people behind you. People believe in you. Maybe you even believe in yourself. I've been in that place, but they see something in you. And that moment, and what she did for you would change your life.
Yes,
it changed your life.
The support of Paris, too, because Paris was really good friends. Cassandra Mills, Hiram Hicks, people like that vouched for me with that job. And Hiram Hicks was a very time who managed Keith Sweat and all these really important people who were also in Chapel. Cassandra Mills was, president of Giant Records then. So I had a lot of people backing me up. So Michelle and I, who's also still a friend today, and I connected because she had a baby as well. Like her son was my son was a year old. She just had her son, was a grown man. Also, but we connected on that as well.
Awesome. And so now you're an executive, music publishing, right?
I was hired as a creative manager. I was about 20.
Creative manager. Okay, right. Okay.
Creative manager for a creative post, and the writers on the at the time were like Eddie F., the Untouchables, Bernard Bell wrote everything with Teddy Riley, all the stuff, and he was a huge writer at the time, Bernard Bell, and Barry Eastman, people like that. But my first day at Warner Chappell, I was given Sammy Kahn's art. You're familiar with songwriters? Sammy Kahn is a songwriter, a classic songwriter. Wrote, like, Take Me to the Ball Game. He had just passed away, and they gave him office. So it was like,
that's incredible that you would get. I mean, listen. So you come into the business. I mean, you get this promotion, this great job. You get this office, and now you're you said in creatives, right? You're in a creative department.
Creative manager, because you start out as a manager, then you're like director or associate.
Right. How do we go from there to music publishing?
No, it was music publishing.
Oh, it was music publishing. Okay, so then now, okay, so here we are, the music publishing, and so tell us some of the people that you actually signed that came through you.
Well, it took a minute because I didn't really know a lot about music publishing, so I learned on the job. My boss was on the West Coast, so I really did a lot of on-the-job learning. In the beginning, it was shaky because I wasn't sure what to do or sign. No, I take it back. I knew who I wanted to sign. In fact, I signed Terry and Monica because Paris had signed Epic, and I thought the album was going to do well because Paris had the success of Groove Theory and his years. Anyway, signed them. The album flopped. The album flopped. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get back. But back then, it was different times. So that had been the only thing I signed for a minute, I think. And time goes by. Terry calls me and she's like, oh, I'm writing these kids. I'm writing with Heavy D, writing for these kids. I'm like, okay, let me know how it goes. And the kids turned out to be So For Real. So she wrote Candy Rain, and every little too. So it was a big lesson for me because it was like, granted, the album didn't do well, but because she's talented, she's a writer, she was still successful. Like, she didn't succeed as an artist, but she was successful as a songwriter.
Right.
And pop hit. I'll never forget. I was in the car service back then. You were always in a car service.
Right.
I was in a car service in Brooklyn, and these kids were just coming out of school, and they were all singing Candy Rain. I was like, oh, what? My songs. So anyway, I was on a roll from that. Like, after that, I think I signed Junior Mafia.
When did Junior Mafia? Did that come right after?
It's all a blur. It was so long ago.
Hey, Casey.
I think I signed Junior Mafia in 95.
Okay.
I started that job in 93. I got to Junior Mafia in 95. Yeah, a lot between 95 and 96.
Mm-hmm. And did you know when you signed Junior Mafia, did you know that they were going to be this? Did you know then what they were going to be?
Yeah, they were. Well, they hadn't done solo albums yet, but
no, I mean, you saw the,
Yeah, I mean, they'd already had, like, I think it was record they had out, whichever was the first single they'd had out. So everybody knew. Biggie was involved. Everybody knew it was going to succeed, I think, at some point. But after that, that's when Little Kim's solo album and Little C, so it was able to go on from there.
Right.
Yeah. The Rhymes was some things were done in-house. Like, I worked at Warner, so we probably had first dibs on some that were with Elektra and Warner within that system. So,
And how was Busta when he came on?
Busta was great. He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Old Lady Bastard. Only met him like once. And publishing's different than records in that you're not involved in the day to day with people. I wasn't. So, but yeah.
Okay. And then when did you meet, or when did you sign at Missy?
Okay, well, Louise West, my favorite people in the world, legendary attorney in the business. She told me about them for a while because they were under Devontae Swing for a minute, and she's like, I want to bring you these guys. They've been up there with Devontae, they're talented. So Missy had done some things. 702, she was Kilo, and she was like on the Gina Thompson with. So I already knew about her, but she brought Timberlake to the office, and he played me Pony. Pony, and it was so different at the time. Sound was impeccable. It was new. No one was doing, so I signed him up for that one song, and they were like, "Yeah, we worked the." But we can't play the music. Like Barry Hankerson has all the music, so they couldn't play it for me. I signed them just because Tony, and I knew they were working on Aaliyah. And like 3 weeks later, If Your Girl Only Knew came out, and Aaliyah skyrocketed to that album, classic, one in the middle.
Beautiful. And did a cassette come by your office from a white guy, a white rapper? Vanilla Ice?
I remember with Dwayne. It was
that's with Dwayne? Okay. Because you told me, I mean, and I thought that was an interesting story that you heard that before anybody else did. The first white rapper, Vanilla Ice.
Yeah. That. But,
who knew?
Yeah,
so now you are in the business, and obviously you have Missy, you have Timberland, you have the writers, and these are all successful situations. What was that? So then, what happened to your life, and what happened in terms of what was life like for you at that point? Because now we're talking about a different stage when you move into that arena.
Oh yeah, my life changed. I had more money. I was traveling more. I'd never been to LA. I'll never forget the first time I went to LA. I was so excited to go. I went for Soul Train Awards, and I was so excited to go stay at the Hotel Nico. And so when I get there, my boss Rochelle was like, "Where are you staying?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm staying at the Nico." She was like, "Why are you staying at the Nico?" They had 4 Seasons Peninsula, and I was like, "Okay, next time I will." So I started seeing the world. You know what I mean? I feel like that was a time I really became a grown up world. I was meeting famous people who were household names. My life changed. The man who became my husband later in that time. So yeah.
You're like a power couple at one point. He's doing this, you're doing that. You guys get married. It's in Ebony. It's in the Times. It's one of those weddings that we read about. So
yeah.
you put. What I'm saying is, girl, and I love her. You guys know this, right? But she's like, she's kind of like, I've married a guy. Yeah, no, I get it. But for people out there, for your followers and people out there, this was a dream situation. And in other words, she is still, but at that time, we're talking about the golden age of hip hop. She's a music executive. Her husband is, at the time, it's like a powerhouse. And that was a life, that you were living at that moment, and traveling. I think even then you started going to Europe and other places. right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
bus like Ken Pearson took me to London. This was when I first started the job. I was 26. He's like, you should come to London and meet the guys over there. And I decided that, like, well, since I'm here, I might as well go to Paris. So
why
I
not?
did all my meetings in London, and then I took myself to Paris for a few days. And I just started seeing the world. And, um, you know,
Did they call it balling back then?
and now I look at it that way.
You were balling, baby.
It was normal at the
It was
time,
just normal, right?
you know.
Paris, what?
It was, the music business was very different then. There were lots of conferences. It was a more intimate business then, I think. Saw people more. People would come by the office. Artists would come by the office. It was just a more.
Drop by, like who would just drop by the office just to?
I mean, well, not just drop by. Like you did a lot of meetings.
Okay.
People would come by. You would have meetings all day. You would see people, but from what I understand now, even before COVID, like people weren't doing a bunch of meetings. Like people, I don't know. I haven't been in the business for so long. I don't know what's going on. But back then, I loved loved the music. I made great friendships. People who still friends to this day, and it was a great time in my life. Like I don't have any regrets about it. I feel like I definitely. Joy Brown are the culture creators. I'm definitely one of the creators of the culture, I feel. And have been there and been a success and do the things I was able to do.
Nice. So incredible, iconic time. And specifically that particular time in hip hop is the golden age, as they love, it's referred to. Rightfully so. And so then let's talk about when that's, I think what I'm trying to get at is that you have this life, and I think people see this journey, but they don't know the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this life, and then time goes on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when did you get out of the business?
Well, the business changed.
Okay.
Apple, I went to Universal and did records. I didn't like that. And then like 9/11 happened around that time, and the advent of the BlackBerry and iPod, those things.
Technology.
Technology changed the business considerably. So make a long story short, last gig was at EMI, and that ended in maybe 2004. And I thought it would be like any other time where you get that, because I've been let go before, and I've been let go under contract. So I thought it's going to be like another time that I would get right back in, but this didn't get right back in. And when the money stopped, I tried management, but it was very different in front of the desk than being behind the desk, So it didn't work. Like I lost my passion. So, long story short, I went through a long time, many years trying to get back in the business or do something in entertainment, but nothing ever worked out. Nothing. And at the time, I'm like, this is strange. Like with my pedigree and all the things I've done and all the people I've written checks for, I should be able to get a job, but it didn't work out that way. Now I can say I wasn't supposed to because of what I'm doing now, but back then I really didn't understand it. And I went through many years of trying to figure out my life, where it was going, what I was going to do. I didn't have any money. I went through a very, very difficult time. And there's nothing like having a lot of money and losing it, or, just I went from here to here in, a short period of time. So I don't wish it on anyone. I went through it for a longer period. I thought I needed to get through it. But then right after that, it was like the recession. like, it was just it was like
A series of.
Yeah, a series of unfortunate events.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm bringing that up because to anyone watching, listening, is that she had a series of these events. And during that time, Angelique, what maybe one thing that you did that you didn't allow to, maybe you lost your job, lost some income, the hardship, but what did you keep for yourself during that time?
I worked out every day.
You
Like,
worked out.
get up.
Okay, so you worked out.
I would get up every day, go to the gym every
Mm.
day because it was the one thing I could control. Like, this person wasn't calling me back, that person wasn't doing this, but the one thing I could control was get up every day and work out. I was getting older, so my body was changing. So I was, I always tell people that I felt down and out. I refused to look down.
Right.
That would have taken me over the edge. If I'd have been broke and out of shape, that I was just driven over a cliff. So I worked out every day. I worked part-time at a bar studio so I could take free bar class. And I just got into that.
I love it. And you got creative with it. That's another thing is I don't mean to jump in, but these are tools, guys. When you find yourself, the things that you're passionate about. She went to the classes. She went to this place and she took a job and she got free classes. So that way she had to pay for it. And she got the benefits of working out. So I love this. Keep going.
Yeah, and it put me in the city every day too, so I could be kind of in the mix. But again, it was a crazy time. It was a crazy time. But I worked throughout it all. I worked out every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to the point where, like I said, as I was getting older, so I was like, I need to do something more aggressive, like that's really gonna shake up the weight, because I had been gaining weight. I wasn't big by any means, but I gained weight, and I just started doing CrossFit. I know not the thing to do now because the guy CEO's crazy, the workouts are crazy. But anyway, the workouts was crazy that I felt.
And did you lose it?
Somebody needs to know I did this. I won't say I lost weight, but I was in really good shape. And I was just like, somebody needs to know I ran 2 miles, came back and did 50 kettlebell swings and ran another 2 miles. And it was just, they were insane workouts. So I would post them, I think on Twitter, I was posting them. And Instagram came along. So I started.
Look at this body, y'all. Can we look at this body? Look at this. Look at this woman, okay? All the fellas that's watching, even the women that's watching, okay? So you mentioned, and we're talking about Twitter and Instagram. Just want to give a little chronology. This was when, in the earlier days of Instagram. And
2012, 2013.
Yeah, I wasn't even on either one of those back then.
Yeah, so it resonated with people. Like, even when I just had 1,000 followers, people would stop me and say, you know what, you inspired me to work out today, because I'm in my 40s by this time. People, my peers were like, I'm in the gym too, like, you inspired me to get. So I was like, oh, this is really resonating with people. I didn't do it for that. I did it. It was completely authentic. I was just being me, but being me resonated with people. So.
Right. And beautiful photograph. And one thing I the key thing that you said there for anybody, these are like, I hope they're getting these notes, is being authentic. Is the key word. So when I think that was what resonated, like you said, what resonated people was the authenticity, but was also behind that, Angelique, I think was your story. Because you mentioned earlier in the program, we talked about the scar. Talk about that a little bit, because for some people that could actually devastate their life. But I want to be clear. I want to be honest with you, Angelique. When I met you, I didn't even notice your scar. And I think a lot of people have said that to you. And part of it is that, yes, you embrace it, right? but it's also your confidence. Where does that come from? You have this incredible confidence.
Do I?
You do.
I will say that I went through a rough time as a teenager because not only did I have the scar on my face, I have a skin condition called psoriasis, and I've had LASIK. I was 4-eyed, and I wore like really thick glasses. Thank you for not noticing, Sonia. So I had zero self-esteem by this time. The scar, the glasses, a mess. I probably did some things that reflected that in my life. My confidence now comes from a place, I think, of going through, of losing everything and coming through that, realizing who I am, realizing who's around me. I did go to therapy just a few times, and the one thing I got from the therapist was that, I was telling her how unhappy I was with my skin, and she was like, you have to learn to love your skin. It's the biggest organ, and you have psoriasis. There's, at the time, there's nothing you could do about it, and once you have to learn to love your skin. So, going through the tough time that I did, without all the stuff, without go do all the shopping, without being able to travel, I had to really learn to love myself and my skin and my scar was never an issue for me really after my teenage years, but all those things I really had to learn to love all of my, which includes my flaws. So I think my confidence has come with age and maturity and experience and acceptance.
Acceptance, I'm going to just name all these things. Acceptance, maturity, she mentioned age, all these things, all those things you just mentioned, Angelique, is also, and acceptance are also a part of your brand. And how you were able to, fast forwarding how she took this moment, which at the beginnings of Twitter, Instagram, building her following, and you now are, when did you start not only connecting with your followers, but also connecting with brands? When did that sort of happen, and how did that happen?
Before then, I had I think the last entertainment door had been slammed in my face, and I had to really come to terms with what I wanted my future to look like. And so I was like, okay, this entertainment thing, music thing isn't working out. What do you want to do? And I said, I want to get up every day. I want to work out. I want to practice other forms of self-care, and I want to monetize it. I didn't know how I was going to do that, but that was the plan. I didn't, people were like, oh, you're going to be a personal trainer. I knew I wasn't trying to be a personal trainer. I just knew I want to get up every day and work out and do what I want to do.
Right.
So I think at that point, the things I was doing and posting, I did it more with a purpose. And, us Gen Xers, or maybe a little slow to get into the social media game. And I would say I probably got in sooner than a lot of my peers. People would be like, why are you taking so many pictures? And you really take food and like you promoting things, like how are you getting paid for that? And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get paid for it. Like, but I'm going to, like, I know this is a thing. I didn't know how to articulate it, but I knew it was a thing. So
I remember.
You remember.
I remember.
Things trickled in, like brands, maybe like 1 or 2 a year would come in. So I was like, okay, I know this is a thing. I don't know how to get deep into the thing yet, but I know this is a thing. And then the floodgates open.
Floodgates open, yeah. Big time. And now the floodgates are open, and you are at this point the like brand ambassador and partnerships with so many different brands. We'll show a few of them as we speak, and you know, and you're now also one of the top social media influencers over 50 for Black women. You're leading. And I find that to just be, when you talk, one of the things I hope also people hear this is believing and seeing. And even if you don't know how it's gonna, you manifested it. I was there. I've been her friend now for about 7 years, and I saw the transformation. And one of the things I can say to you guys as a witness is that, like she said, she didn't know how it was gonna turn out, but she knew she would be doing what she's doing now. And so much so that I was seeing things for you and say, oh girl, they're gonna love your skin, they're gonna love your hair. And I said, and every time I post a picture with Angelique, all the guys and the women, oh, she's so pretty. And all the guys, oh, you know Angelique, you know her. And I said, you got a fan base. People love you. You know, so we're gonna talk about that too. You know, you know, you're hawking now. It seems like everything, every time I turn around, I see you with a great brand. Some of the brands that, you know, we can maybe mention are Dove and a few others that you're working. These are huge brands that you brand partnerships.
Started out as fitness, has evolved into lifestyle. Like I don't do a lot of. I haven't worked with too many fitness brands. I might work with some wellness brands. It has definitely evolved into more beauty and lifestyle brand partnerships, which I love. You know, I've always been a beauty product junkie, so I love doing that. It doesn't feel like work to me.
Yeah, and it's perfect. You're the perfect spokesperson for these brands. I mean, it looks like it's just like a symbiotic relationship. The minute these are commercials, you know what I mean? When we see them on ads, I know that I was a model, so I know what that looks like. And it's a beautiful thing to see when what you saw for yourself and it actually manifesting and we see it. So Angelique, you know, the time we see it, I could talk to you all friggin' day, and I'm going to talk to her later, by the way. But for our viewers out there, I might say to them, want you to say to them, who are your influencers and what motivates you? You know, who inspired you? So why don't we ask, you know, give them some tips. Who inspired you, or to know who inspired you, and what motivates you?
As far as what I'm doing now professionally?
Yeah.
I would, you know, I looked at what people like Massey, Mango Fit, she was Mango Fit at the time, people like Massey and Follow the Leader. When I was in fitness, those are the people who I looked to, and I thought they were making a living doing what they do full time. Like I said, mine isn't fitness anymore, but you know, I guess I look to mostly young people. I saw people because there wasn't even my age that was doing it. So I was like, I looked to them. Other than that, I'm definitely a self. Like I'm
sorry, again. You're what?
Self-motivated. Like
Self-motivated. Good.
Myself, and I'm always researching and looking to see what's going on. I do that on my own.
So research is important, right? Researching what you're going to do.
And just, you know, I might spend a couple hours a day looking on social media what's happening, seeing what kind of you know, photos are taken, what kind of brands are out there. It can be a number of things, but I'm always, you know, I don't do things blindly. Like I feel like I know, I research what I'm doing and I study what I'm doing. But for me, it was like, you know, I reached rock bottom. So for me to be doing, I just knew the second half of my life that I wanted to wake up and do something every day that I enjoyed doing. And that was the most important thing for me. So I was like, I can start from the because I'm at the bottom anyway. So living, having mostly complete autonomy, having a choice of what brand to work with.
And they come to you. They come to you, by the way.
Yes, they come to me. I haven't pitched myself anything yet.
Can you believe that, guys? She is not. I just have people have to understand that, because I'm as a model or whatever. You get once upon a time. You get pitched for things, but she has not. They come for her. So she made herself in this brand where other huge brands are calling her, and she can decide whether she wants to work with them. Some huge brands already know some things work with you, some things don't work with you, right?
Right.
But one thing that I do know about you, Angelique, is that you know your worth.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty clear about that.
You're very clear. Say it again.
Yeah, no, I'm clear.
Be clear about your worth, because I need people to understand that you're valuable, and when you know what you're worth, you better ask for it. And I know this lady right here, if she don't get what she's worth, you ain't working with her. So I love that about you. That is, inspiring. This is great advice for people, because you can have a vision. You can, but you're living a purposeful life. You decided, Angelique. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Lisa.
You know that. I tell you all the time, right?
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
And
you know how often we talk, and you've been a great friend to me throughout all of it. So,
and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, and I love what you've done. And but now she worked with us, and
yes, I want to see.
She worked with us, baby. And one thing I love about the show is it's a live show, but it's basically a magazine that comes to life, right? So you get to hear from the cover star about their lives and how they got to that point. And so I'm so excited to introduce to you guys our 11th, one is a powerful number, by the way, our 11th cover, and it is The Allure of Angelique Miles. Hit it.
Nice. Love
and
it.
we got another one for you, because
Okay.
the thing about when we work with certain people, they give us so much. So this is Angelique, her fitness, her power, the allure of her strength, right? And then we got another cover for you.
Okay.
All right. And I want to thank Paul, my partner. There you go.
Oh, wow.
And
Nice.
that's the cover for Angelique Miles.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Say, Paul, you did.
Hey.
Shot the cover, creative director. I want to thank Kevin McQueen, who did our beautiful makeup, and Stephen Rice. You guys are working together all together as a dream team. Brad Leinard, thank you so much for your beautiful home here in Harlem. He's amazing. We all love. Then we just all want to move into his house, y'all. He can adopt us any day. Thank you so much for making this happen. This is a beautiful cover. It'll be posted tomorrow, guys. We normally post around noon, 1 o'clock, for the story and other photos from her beautiful shoot. And but this is the allure of Angelique Miles. And I say allure because people are drawn to you. And they're drawn to what you do, and they love what you do, and you're alluring, and you're beautiful. And Crystal, hey Crystal, I love it. And Yaza, Sonia, Shell, Tony. We just go through the list of people that are saying they love it. It's beautiful. But what I love about this cover, what I love about you, working, huh?
No,
Ulysses, we love you. He's such a great supporter. Thank you, Crystal. I love working with her. Myron, thank you so much. Is you are so give you some background, guys. She was in this when she steps on set. She didn't start out as a model, but this child is modeling. You are giving me life. You are giving. We wanted elegance. We wanted to. It's Harlem. We wanted to keep the time frame of a Dorothy Dandridge, a modern day version, sexy, alluring, and you delivered all of that. It was a joy working with you. You're just great.
Thank you. You guys are great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I can't wait to see the rest of the photo. You know, I need to.
I know we got others. We got about 5 other photos for you. But we said we had 2 covers, and we've only done that with one other person where we had 2 covers. Or no, three people so far.
Oh,
So
well,
but now, yes.
Yay.
Yay. Well, Angelique, I want to thank you so much for gracing us, for coming on the show. You know, I knew when I started, oh, here's another picture. And it's funny because it's on digital, so it's a little, but with the sharpness on this, I saw this photograph.
Oh, you did it in black and white. Okay.
Yes, we want to it's beautiful. And people are saying, Casey Du, thank you. Who our former cover queen, our last cover queen,
Yes.
Casey. And yeah, it was great working with you, Angelique. We have about five shots, but I don't know if he's going to show them, Paul. But they're beautiful. But you're going to see them tomorrow.
All right.
So, but anyway, thank you, Angelique, so much. And I knew when I started this magazine, I just want to say this to everyone, that Angelique, there's so many people out there, but I have a very small group. Oh, you got to see this guy with his hair sharper. Oh, God, this fire right here.
Oh, wow. Y'all made me look good.
You are, honey. We just took, look at that. Kapow. I love it. Is when I started this magazine, Angelique was one of my biggest supporters. And when I was in a tough time during COVID, we launched during COVID, I was depressed. I didn't know what I was going to do. She said, you got the magazine. That magazine, you got to put the magazine out there. That's your ticket right there. And here we are, Angelique.
Yes.
Again. And I'm saying that to give you a shout out is because sometimes you just need that good friend, and Crystal as well, need that good friend to just push you. That's all I wanted to say to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shantae. We love you, Shantae.
Shantae.
She's amazing. She's amazing. I love Shantae. We love Shantae. You want to say something, Shantae?
Hey, that's all I have to say. I love Shantae Timberlake.
You love your Shantae. So, you know, but I just want to say that to you, Angelique, from here on the show, and let people know this, you know, I thank you personally.
And I thank you.
So here we are. So I want to thank everybody for coming on, watching us, watching this incredible show, hearing Angelique's journey, an incredible journey. I wish I could go even another hour. Thank you once again. Thank you for the love. One thing we always say at Ambassador Magazine is live your life with passion, which is something that you do. So follow us on YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram at ambassador_mag. And of course, you're here on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Facebook. So you're going to Ambassador Digital Magazine. Okay, guys? And it's a wrap.
Good night.
Good night. Love you.
We love you too.